Let's try that again. All right. I was trying to be silly and didn't work out. Oh, that was a bad way. That was a really bad way to start. Okay, let's try it again. Let's regain our composure. It's a Tuesday morning. We're off. Yeah, got nothing in the chamber for today. Just left the house. We were doing Great Wolf Lodge chants. We were howling. 3, 2, 1. Ow! That's basically where I'm at right now. I got a vacation coming up in now 6 days. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And what else is going on? I've prepared a song from a practice jam session that I had on my 40th birthday for myself to listen to while I drive around for work all day, basically. And I kind of like mumbled some melody ideas and stuff like that, but there's some bits and pieces where there's not a lot of vocals over, and it's basically us going through this new idea that my guitar player came up with, and I think he's kind of been sitting on, because it sounds like it's like an older thing, but it's really, I don't know, it's awesome. It's a very, very cool guitar part. And this guy turning that up. So I'm just gonna listen to that. I'm kind of challenging myself. I've decided that it's kind of a challenge to make it into something really cool that he's gonna like. I think he's enjoyed the last 2 collaborations that I did, because we did an album together where I wrote all the songs, and my, I intentionally have a simple style, because I've tried writing complex stuff, and the payout isn't there as far as like connecting to people. Like you connect with, in one sense, you can maybe connect with other musicians who are looking for more complex stuff, but the general public likes simplicity, and it's easy to paint sonically with broad strokes. Basically what I'm saying is, like, in musical terms, like single note riffs and stuff like that. Not a lot of vocal harmonies. Just very bare bones things, like basically having, like, your basic rhythm and chords covered, and not too much fancy stuff over top of it, like not even a lot of color tones and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of in the melody, if you understand what I'm saying. But I'm kind of getting lost in that idea. Let me backtrack a little bit, because what was I even talking about? I was talking about, I prepared a song that I'm going to be listening to by my guitarist, who's now sharing his good stuff with me, I think, because this song progresses through a lot of different parts, and they all build very nicely and flow, and it's cool. So I'm excited about that. But it's going to be a challenge, and it's like challenge accepted is basically what I'm saying about that. So that's a cool development in my musical endeavors and my passion and stuff like that, and where we're going with the next album, most likely, because I only have a couple. I'm starting to feel like, I don't know. It's just, I'm in my head right now, basically, and I'm in my feels, and I'm 40. I'm fucking old as dirt, basically. No offense to anybody who's 40 or older, or approaching 40 and feeling. I never feel like that. I don't really feel old. I'm just completely joking about that. But I do feel like I don't really feel old. I don't. The only thing is, like, I'm tired of stuff. I'm kind of like, I'm over a lot of things. I'm bored with a lot of things. But I don't think that's necessarily my age or whatever. I think that's kind of a cycle that I'm in right now. Because I'm not always like that. I think I just, like, the song that I'm talking about, it's actually a handful of songs. There's a couple different songs from that, and some of them are even mine, which I could push further. I could do more with. I just don't know. Like I said, I almost look at it as like a return on investment type of thing. Like, but you should always be trying to make, reach for perfection. I don't really like. There is a bit of slop with rock and roll that I permit. But it's basically like everybody should be basically playing the right notes, playing what they intend on playing. I think there is a bit of forgiveness where there's like happy accidents type of thing. And then there is just like that, 5% grace of slop that I kind of give, at least myself. I can appreciate precision, but I think that's kind of the death nail of where rock and roll has gone, and all the genre, all like the harder metal genres. Like, for me, it's sick to have like all the precision and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't make it heavier. It doesn't make it more emotionally weighty. It doesn't make it connect to people more. Because if you can't pull it off, which a lot of people just can't, then it just it just kind of serves like an egregore or something like that, like something that's been created that is kind of this monstrosity, which I think is kind of what metal has become. Is just a monstrosity. It's trying to blend all these things that don't really work. I think there's a lot of subtlety in there where you can make those things work, but you can't. They've pulled it to the extremes, and it's like a clown show, basically. That's like, kind of. But like, it's been a clown show since day one. Like, look, I mean, even Kiss is like the clowns from hell, or whatever you want to call them. And then, the Insane Clown Posse, it's literally what they're called. I guess that's not rock and roll, but that's like the new rock and roll. So now I'm off on a totally different tangent, and that's a whole subject unto itself. And the clowns from hell is a whole, if you've ever seen Understanding Conspiracy, or the Nephilim looked like clowns, or anything like that, like, look that stuff up if you're into conspiracy, if you're into that cool, interesting stuff, at least to me. You might think it's schizo, psycho, or whatever, but there's something there. I think there's like everything. I think there's something there. When there's I don't believe in coincidence. I don't have a problem with people calling it coincidence or being like skeptical or anything like that. You can have your opinion, but I think it's, if it's showing up, it's if something is appearing to you, then it exists, and it exists for a reason, and it's not. It might be like a paradoxical thing. What is that? What is that? Pareidolia, I think it's called. I might be way off on that, but I think that's what something like pareidolia, where you see humans see faces in random patterns, and we can pick out. We always make faces out of things. Like it's just like you just look at a truck, and you see the two lights and the grill, and you're like, oh, it's smiling at me, like, and you're waving at the truck, but that face does exist because it is there, and I think it's an example of the fractal nature of how everything is. We're all one type of thing. Oh wow, this is a great fucking topic. Just throw an expletive in the middle of it, randomly. But that's the nature of our like reality and our matrix and what we're. I mean, does it have to be like that? But it kind of is. Nature, looking at the trees and stuff like that, you could see them as like a circulatory system inside the body, a nervous system inside the body. You could see the branches going up and then down into the earth as duality. You could see that as like, what is it, the Vesica Pisces, or the toroidal structure, maybe how our toroidal structure works, like our electromagnetic body or our spirit body or whatever that is, or even the earth and wherever we exist, whether it's whatever shape it is. If I'm open to the flat earth idea. I think I went through a whole phase where that was kind of ostracized. I ostracized myself, and even further from where I was, because I think, I don't know if I went flat earth and then I think I went Christianity then into flat earth. Yeah, because it was like 2013, and then 2015 is when, because it was after 2012 I was into the New Age. And I was just watching, I need to put a restriction on myself for my phone. I need to give myself a time limit and like treat myself, basically. Because obviously I'm all, my brain is just misfiring everywhere, and I'm going from one thing to another. But anyways, because I don't know what I want to reveal about myself, and there's a lot of things are embarrassing. But I'll tell you anyways. Back in 2012, and maybe a little bit before, it was probably 2010, 11, because that's when I got into conspiracy heavy. Was around 2009 or 10. I think 2010 maybe. It was like getting into like loose change, and I was introduced to all that stuff. I was blissfully unaware. I knew about like the mainstream like Michael Moore's movie and stuff, where he's just like, it's an inside job. And I just thought, okay, it's an inside job. I already believe that everyone is corrupt, that has, that rises to power, and our government is definitely not immune to that. Like, our government is probably, we're just like everybody else. We just have our own flavor, and we have our own, way of spinning it. And I would just laugh everything off, and it's like, freedom isn't free. Takes folks like you and me. That type of thing. Like, that's how I was just looking at everything. And then all of a sudden, I started taking things serious, because it was, it was... Loose Change was just like scratching an itch of searching for the truth. And that, I started to really want to know the truth, because I've never trusted just the official story of anything. I've always had this itch of like, what is, like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. Even the shape of the earth and us being in space and all this kind, like, it, I've had thoughts of this and that, but ultimately, I went through, so I saw a video about spirit science, and then I remember, like, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that, and it was Drunvalo Melchizedek was this guy, and I actually ended up buying a book and got into Drunvalo Melchizedek a little bit. I just read the book and was buying into it, and I was trying to meditate and stuff like that, and I was like, getting a little trippy or whatever, but I wasn't like having super strong experiences until I kind of had like a meltdown or and it was just like an emotional, like, I was like really depressed, and I all this, and I was just like really searching for the truth, and then I had a voice in my head that didn't sound like it was me, but then there was always this like doubt that I'm like, am I like, I know I'm not like completely crazy, but am I making that voice just so I can convince myself of something, so I can calm myself down, and give myself a narrative to follow? Is that something that is basically what happened? Was I was asking if Jesus was real. I was asking if God was real. And I did have like a voice in my head that was speaking and told me to get on my knees. And basically it was like I was washing the dishes, and the voice said, like, I have to like kneel, get on your knees, basically. And that always was just like, I understand every knee shall bow and all this stuff, and I get it, and I'm not like saying I'm not a humble person. It just, I don't know if that's like, I needed to tell myself that, and it was a voice outside myself, because it's like, it's hard for me to believe, like, to really buy into that I might be able to trick myself. Like, it's hard for me. I can believe that I can trick myself. It's hard for me to believe that if I had a true spiritual encounter, And the thing is, I'm kind of afraid of having a spiritual encounter. Um, but I'm worried. Like I wonder if I would be able to deny it. Like did I deny the call? And what is the call? Or is it just a call to follow a program, follow a narrative, follow a story that can comfort you? It's like that is in the book, that is written in the book. Like he can be the comforter. He's going to send the comforter. And that's supposed to be, like a transition period or whatever before he comes back. At least in some eschatology, some people think that it's like he's already come and fulfilled. Everything's been fulfilled, and that's like the preterist thing where everything's already happened, and then there's just a million different schools of thought on it, and that's part of the reason why I just had to like bow out of the whole thing. And then when I looked back on my whole experience, I remember always having doubt, and it's not doubt about the words of Jesus that like ring true with me, like treat people the way you want to be treated. And even a lot of the stories in there, like it could have happened that way, but the dogma and the religion that has kind of grown out of that, and all the different, just the whole sacrifice thing, and there's so much to it that I look back and I'm just, is it just a lesson, a period of growth that is ending for people now? Like, is it just a story for us to understand an aspect of growth and sacrifice for the greater good type of thing? Like that is like one of the goals. But I people are starting to just believe that it's like we don't need to be, things don't need to be sacrificed in that manner if we're doing things the right way. So that's a lot of stuff to think about. I think we came up with an idea here, and I'm at work, and everything is going to be all right.